Welcome, listeners of Hot Topic and Fresh News. Today is 29th of March, 2024, and we're here to delve into today's most pressing news. 9 hours ago, Baltimore's Key Bridge collapsed, triggering an ongoing complex recovery effort. Currently, engineers are dissecting the twisted steel, making slow but meticulous progress. Our hearts go out to the 6 construction workers hailing from Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador, and Honduras, who tragically lost their lives. In their honor, immigrant advocacy group CASA of Maryland has held a vigil, emphasizing the dangers these workers face daily. Maryland Governor Wes Moore has assured that recovery efforts will continue with a focus on safety and environmental impacts. Maryland State Police divers remain on standby, ready to resume their search for the missing bodies once conditions allow. Coast Guard Rear Admiral Shannon Gilreath provided an update on the plan to reopen the shipping channel affected by the collapse. The first phase centers on channel reopening, followed by cargo ship removal, and finally, bridge debris clearance. Noting the economic consequences, Governor Moore stressed the urgency of reopening the Port of Baltimore, a major hub for vessel traffic and a significant cog in the local and national economy. Despite acknowledging the cleanup effort's complexity, given the size of the ship and presence of obstacles, the governor expressed a firm determination to overcome these challenges. Lastly, President Joe Biden has announced his upcoming visit to Baltimore next week. That's all for the headlines. Stay tuned to Hot Topic and Fresh News for a deep dive into these events and their implications. Hello again, dear listeners of Hot Topic and Fresh News. This is your host, Emily, coming to you live from New York City. As always, I'm joined by my insightful and eloquent co-host, David, hailing from the sunny San Francisco, California. We're here every day serving you the hottest news topics fresh off the press.
Thanks for the warm welcome, Emily. It's always a pleasure to be here, ready to discuss and analyze the day's most crucial events.
Absolutely, David. To our listeners, we're not just a duo, we're a community. So make sure to subscribe to our channel, turn on those notifications, and don't hesitate to drop us a comment. And remember, sharing is caring. Letting your friends and family know about Hot Topic and Fresh News helps to keep us on air, delivering the news you need to know.
So true, Emily. Engaging with us and each other helps us stay informed and connected in these complex times.
Speaking of complex, wait until you hear more about our headline story. The Baltimore Bridge collapse is an unbelievable tragedy, and the recovery effort? Well, it's an unprecedented challenge, not only for Baltimore, but also for our entire nation. The implications of this event stretch far and wide, influencing our economy, politics, and way of life.
Absolutely, Emily. Situations like these remind us of the interconnectedness of our world and how local events can ripple out and impact us all.
So true, David. Listeners, you don't want to miss our deep dive into this story, so stay tuned because we're just getting started. As always, here at Hot Topic and Fresh News, the news is hot off the press. For those of you just tuning in, we are discussing today's major headlines: the tragic collapse of Baltimore's Key Bridge, an ensuing complex recovery effort, a vigil held by immigrant advocacy group CASA of Maryland in honor of the fallen construction workers, and the economic implications of the incident on the Port of Baltimore. So, what are your thoughts on these developments?
Honestly, it's been an overwhelming day. The events that unfolded are truly heartbreaking, and the challenges faced are immense.
Absolutely, it's a heavy day indeed. The recovery effort in particular sounds extremely complex. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, absolutely. The task ahead for the recovery teams is monumental. But let's continue, we've got a lot more to unpack. So, the latest update on the Key Bridge collapse. It's a massive undertaking, isn't it?
Indeed, it's not going to be a quick operation. The commanding general of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers estimates it could be several days of analysis before they can start cutting and lifting the wreckage. Removing the bridge, spans, and heavy debris from the bottom of the channel is a meticulous and risky task.
And what's the primary concern here?
One major concern is the steel truss bridge structure. It's compared to a stretched rubber band that could snap when cut. Engineers are tasked with figuring out how to safely separate it into manageable pieces.
That sounds daunting. Moving on to another aspect, there was a vigil held by CASA of Maryland, an immigrant advocacy group. Can you tell us more about it?
Yes, the vigil was held in memory of the workers who lost their lives in the collapse. 2 of them were members of the immigrant community. The group's executive director, Gustavo Torres, emphasized the dangers that construction workers face. He highlighted how these essential workers perform critical yet dangerous jobs, often at night and in harsh conditions, just so people can live their lives.
So it's a reminder of the sacrifices some workers make. That's quite thought-provoking.
Absolutely. This incident really makes us appreciate the risks they take on a daily basis.
What are your thoughts on this current news story and its implications?
Well, aside from the immediate tragedy, I think this incident highlights several broader issues. It underscores the risks faced by construction workers, especially those from immigrant communities. Moreover, it reminds us of the potential safety concerns related to our nation's aging infrastructure.
So more about the workers who were on the bridge. Can you tell us about them?
2 of the workers, Miguel Luna and Maynor Suazo Sandoval, were part of the immigrant advocacy group CASA. They were filling potholes on the bridge when it was hit by a container ship. CASA has set up a donation to help the families of these workers, as well as the other 4 victims who passed away in the collapse.
A tragic accident indeed. And how is the recovery effort shaping up?
It's challenging, to say the least. Maryland Governor Wes Moore stated that the recovery will take time, but didn't provide a specific timeline. He emphasized prioritizing safety and environmental impacts and insisted on getting the job done right, even if it's going to be a long road.
It sounds like the task is monumental. What can we expect in the coming days?
President Joe Biden will be visiting Baltimore next week. Meanwhile, Maryland State Police divers are on standby to return to the wreck site to continue their search for the bodies of the workers presumed dead once conditions are safe.
So it's all hands on deck at this point. What's your perspective on this entire situation?
This is undoubtedly a tragic incident. It not only reminds us of the dangers that construction workers face daily, but it also brings to light the significant challenges associated with maintaining and upgrading the nation's aging infrastructure. I sincerely hope that this tragedy leads to greater attention and improvements in these areas.
I wholeheartedly agree. It's a wake-up call that shouldn't be taken lightly. The recovery effort seems to be making progress. Can you tell us more about the current status?
The operation is divided into 3 phases. The first is to reopen the shipping channel, followed by the removal of the cargo ship, and finally, the debris from the bridge. Coast Guard Rear Admiral Shannon Gilreath noted that there's been progress in the first phase with assessments of the bridge, both above and beneath the water, continuing despite difficult conditions.
It's quite a challenge. How are they planning to remove the collapsed bridge?
Given that the bridge part sitting on top of the ship weighs 3,000 to 4,000 tons, it will need to be cut into pieces for removal by cranes. This is a significantly greater weight than what the largest crane currently available can lift.
Sounds like an intricate process. Why is reopening the channel a top priority?
The Port of Baltimore, impacted by the collapse, is critical to both local and national economies. Maryland Governor Wes Moore highlighted that the port is a major hub for vehicles, containers, and commodities. Moreover, it ranks first among U.S. ports for autos and light trucks, handling a record 850,000 vehicles last year.
So, the implications are far-reaching beyond Baltimore. The pressure is on to restore normalcy as quickly and safely as possible, isn't it?
Absolutely. The interlinked nature of our economies means that delays and disruptions can have ripple effects across industries and regions. It's a reminder of how infrastructural issues can quickly become economic issues.
The cleanup efforts sound complex. Can you elaborate on the challenges they're facing?
They're dealing with a section of the bridge that weighs between 3,000 to 4,000 tons, which exceeds the lifting capacity of the Chesapeake 1000, the largest crane on the East Coast. The team will need to cut the bridge section into smaller pieces to lift them safely and efficiently.
That's quite a task. Are there additional resources being brought in?
Yes, The Navy is supplying Maryland with 4 heavy-lift cranes to aid in the operation. 2 have already arrived, and the remaining 2 are expected shortly.
So it's a considerable operation then.
Indeed, the governor anticipates having 7 floating cranes, 10 tugs, 9 barges, 8 salvage vessels, and 5 Coast Guard boats involved. It's not an understatement to say this cleanup effort is a remarkably complex operation.
The governor mentioned seeing the wreckage up close. Did he share his impressions?
He described the task as daunting and the work ahead as difficult. The ship involved is nearly the size of the Eiffel Tower, and with challenges like high winds and electrical wires, the operation requires constant reassessment.
It's clear this isn't something that will be resolved overnight. The impact on Baltimore, and indeed the nation, is considerable.
Absolutely, the local and national economies are keenly feeling the effects. Given the pivotal role that the Port of Baltimore plays in various industries, it's essential that the restoration efforts progress as swiftly and safely as possible. Thanks for joining us today on Hot Topic and Fresh News. We've delved deep into the current challenges faced by Baltimore in the aftermath of the bridge collapse and its implications on local and national economies. Your engagement and support truly mean the world to us. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to stay updated. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments.
That's right, folks. Keep those comments coming. And remember, sharing is caring. So go ahead and tell your friends, family, and that random person you met at the coffee shop about us. We're here every single day, delivering the most intriguing news stories.
We're grateful for your company and can't wait to have you with us on the next episode.
Oh, and if you think today was exciting, just you wait to see what's around the corner.
Stay in the loop, keep your eyes on the news. Our channel's content will amuse.